we would just like safe passage through your camp. That is all. We
Well, it's
can't
no
be worse.
problem whatsoever, really.
Septimus, would you mind, if you don't mind, we'd like to change a few words between the two of us.
Alright,
Of course, about
you do your stuff. I'm gonna go head back to the camp. If you guys want to come, but, whatever. You can keep the bottle if you want, by the way. We still got some booze there.
Yeah, well, if we're not gonna come to the camp, I'm gonna leave it somewhere close.
Okay, he just sort of like waves you off and he goes back to the camp. You see some other men around a large fire going like, "Hey!" to the man as he approaches back to the group.
What do you think, Septimus? I don't trust the guy.
I think he by himself, he doesn't give me the aura of a wicked person. However, these are travelers.
Yes, they are.
It stands to reason that at least one person amongst them is an eye for the cargo that we have with us.
They do have carts there as well, so you're right on that assumption as well. Horses are also there.
And this person, this evil lady who is expecting us, who's to say she's not expecting our cargo as well?
It's true, but on one hand, if they're expecting us and one of them saw us here, there's not much we can do. They can hunt us down if they really want that. Thing is, if they mean us no harm, this may be the best chance we have for actual rest in a long time. After this, always we would need to hide the cart, make a good camping spot where we are hidden. Someone would always need to be up. With this, we may be able to make do with a bit of a lighter guard.
Are you really willing to risk, our survival and the progress we can make traveling just for one night? One night of rest is not that important. I can stay up if you're so concerned with, sleep.
It's not really that. We only have one driver who can drive in the dark. And we may also get some information out of them. Irene seems a bit sheltered.
Do you know any natural ways of changing hair color?
I mean, you can change color by using mud. It's gonna come out when you wash it, but it'll look deceiving in the right distance. Do I know any other methods? Can I roll survival or something?
For changing hair color.
Yeah.
I don't see how survival would help you with that, but you can roll nature to see if there's anything natural in the environment that perhaps you could use, plants or such.
Survival nature based, that's what I was thinking. Like, what can I use out of the nature to change or dye?
It's gonna have to be nature, not survival.
Alright.
Dyeing hair is not a basic needs of survival.
Alright.
As you think about it, there are quite a few plants that come to mind that could change the color of hair in some way or another. Especially, you do remember if you were to take some tree bark and prepare it in the right way, you could try and make some hair color appear brownish.
Alright. Well, I do have a hand axe on me, so. Yeah. Septimus, I think I can make something to change the hair color. Do you think it's worth it? Well, there's information and rest, which I place quite valuable.
All right.
Ask
Alright.
a little, rest up, and first thing in the morning. Ride out.
There's also another thing I wanted to tell you. I'll tell the others as well. Let's head on over to the card and I'll let you know.
What?
I think she said, let's head back to the cart and then...
Yeah, let's.
Okay, so you two are heading back to the cart. Going a little bit back in time, back to the cart, where currently Irene...
While on our way back to the cart, Saban will use the hand axe to take off some bark from
There is no trees in this area, sadly.
No, okay, well then, where are the closest trees?
The closest trees would actually be a bit up ahead on the road, or if you were to go down the cliff.
Alright. It's better to go up the road, so
yeah.
that's where Saban is going to go.
Okay, so it'll take a bit of more time to get back there. Back to Rika and Irene. Back at the cart. Rika, what is Rika doing?
She's staying vigilant. First of all, keeping watch so that no one really sneaks up on them, seeing as she can actually see in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And listening out for the signal.
So, do you think they'll be fine?
They're both strong. I'm sure they're able to take care of themselves for as long as it needs, for as long as we need to get there.
Roll me a perception check. Let me just So as I sit down there, being a little bit tense, waiting for something to happen, maybe a shout or the sound of a vape or something, suddenly it becomes dark. Is there perhaps like a cloud in front of the mirror? Oh! You suddenly see the figure of a werewolf bowing over your head. Both you and Irene are taken completely by surprise. Roll initiative.
Fuck!
Werewolf 2 Electric Boogaloo, let's go!
I will cut off the snout of that thing.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, son of a... Woo. That is one heck of a roll. You are so completely dumbstruck by surprise as this is happening. Luckily, though, Irene is not. She grabs you and she literally leaps with both of you off the cart as the wolf is about to strike down. And she's going to take an opportunity attack as she does. Ooh, that is... Ooh, okay. This is interesting. Let's see what happens. Okay, she is slashed across the back as she drags both of you off the cart and you fall both to the ground. You're both prone. She is not looking great right now as she has a scar on her back. She gives her turn to you. You currently see as the werewolf is still standing over you. You're on the ground, lying next to Irene with this wolf figure standing over you. Its claws still bearing. It's still looking damn well hurt. Doesn't look like it has been had any time to heal.
Alright, I'm standing back up and I'm shooting it with a firebolt.
You're too close. No, actually, you're not too close. She dragged you away. Okay, go ahead. Ooh, this is one hell. Okay, You blast once again flat in the chest. It reels backwards against the cart, ripping off some of the railing as it bows against it. Its whole again, its chest is set aflame for a moment as you smell the burnt smell of skin. It reels backwards in pain. Now it's its turn.
Fuck.
It is at this point very bloody, by the way. So, it is.
Yeah, that doesn't matter if it can kill me in a single turn.
Well, I mean, it didn't kill Irene with its attack. And,
But I think I have less health. Well, actually, no, maybe not.
okay, let's see how this goes. You're both currently... It is going to... Okay. It is going to... Literally, as you lie down on the ground, it looks at you. It pains on its chest. With one of its giant paws, it grabs onto its chest in pain, burrowing over, and looking at you, not with anger or anything. It seems at this point it's far more calculated. It knows that this fight, it's not looking like it's going to win. Instead, what it does, it looks over to the horse. With one fell swoop, it cuts through the reins of the horse, and it mounts the horse. It looks absurd. It looks absolutely absurd as this large creature mounts the horse. It looks like an oversized man mounting a giant, a tiny bicycle of sorts. And the horse runs off with it on its back. I need to see if this can actually work. It works! And so it runs. It runs for a while, and that was the end of its turn. So it goes again this turn, and it keeps running. It is now out of your dark vision range.
So, is there a werewolf riding a mule coming?
Wait for it. We'll get there. But in the meantime.
Wait. Can I have my turn?
Yes, you can have your turn.
Okay.
Please go.
Circus.
Okay. I'll run like how far away did Irene drag me?
What do you? Oh, how far away? Throw it like
Like,
basically
yeah.
10 feet. But you're not
Okay.
that far away from where you were before.
Okay, I'll get on top of the coach, where I usually where it would sit, and can I try to hit it at a disadvantage?
The problem is, it is out of your dark vision range. You currently have no vision of it whatsoever.
But I mean, I know which direction it took.
You know what? Based on that, I will say yes. Go ahead. Okay, let's see.
Please. Fuck, it's a 10.
You hit it into the distance, and it lights up for a while, and actually this light does allow you for just a moment to see the silhouette of something riding off into the distance, but that's it.
Can I, as my bonus action, blow the whistle?
Yes.
Yes, I'll use my bonus action to blow the whistle.
Okay, turning back to you two, as you're basically walking along the street. This is. I'm so sorry if this seems too stupid for this sort of game.
Are
Completely
you?
fine.
No,
Are
not
you
really.
really?
I'm kind of proud of this. This is funny. You hear a shrill noise of a whistle in the distance from where you left your companion behind.
Yeah, Zaban readies himself.
Mm-hmm.
Septimus does the same.
You ready yourself in what way?
Yeah,
What do you
ready,
do?
Basically, wait for anything to jump out at us, but quicken our pace towards the cart.
Okay. As you do, you see a figure on a horse riding towards you. Presumably Rika or someone.
Can we not see that this figure is absolutely too big to be Rika?
You know what?
Since
It's
when did Rika
fair.
have huge fucking man arms?
Roll me perception, to be fair. But it is with disadvantage once again, because it is quite dark. I mean, okay, so Saban, you're like, okay, this is a figure. This must be Rika. She fell to him. She's coming to you. Like, maybe something happened. Maybe she left a ring behind. Septimus, you look at that, and you go, that ain't Irene. You don't know what that is, but it is huge. That ain't Irene. That ain't Rika either.
I'm drawing my sword and I'm yelling at Saban that something huge is coming our way and it doesn't seem friendly.
All right.
As you yell that, it seems that the figure is slowing somewhat down.
Zaban starts approaching the figure.
The werewolf knows how to ride a fucking horse. What, does it know polo as well?
So you approach the figure, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As you get closer, it didn't stop. It just got a little bit slower as it heard you. And as you go forward, you see this absurd picture. You see a werewolf sitting on a horse. The thing is, though, that the werewolf is... It's a bloody mess. It is dripping with blood all over the horse. In fact, at first you think, like, oh my god, the horse is wounded. But no, it appears that most of the blood is dripping from the werewolf. It seems like it's dying. It's basically lying on the horse almost as it is riding off. And as you see, it is speeding up. What do you do?
Is it a horse or a mule?
It is a horse.
All right.
Though, admittedly, I took the picture of your mule.
Yeah.
Can I recognize that as our horse?
Ooh, that's a good one. Roll me investigation.
What can a 14 get me?
With all the blood, it is hard to tell, and you have no idea. The only thing you can tell from here is it is a horse. You can't tell if it is your horse, the horse you've seen before. It is a horse.
I mean, we haven't seen anyone here except a werewolf and the Vistani people. And if this thing is a bloody mess and I can kind of see it, Saban would ready his action to try and catch the werewolf and pull it off the horse.
The creature is approaching, the horse that is, and its rider.
Yeah. So Saban is preparing to pull down the rider if he does not recognize it when it gets close.
Septimus,
I would like to assist Saban with this.
how do you do this? Do you put yourself in the middle of the road?
Like, how is Saban going to pull the werewolf off of the horse? Is he going to stand on one side of the road and...
Saban is, for now, basically, he keeps closing in on the silhouette.
It appears as if
Then he's basically preparing to sidestep and grab like the leg of the rider if he doesn't recognize it to be Rika or something.
Yeah, as you stand there, you realize that the person on the horse seems to try and outmaneuver you to try and get around you with plenty of space for you to be unable to reach it. You're both trying to grab it, right? So both of you roll me an athletics or acrobatic check to try and get in reach of the creature as it is basically riding towards you. In reach doesn't mean standing right in front of it, because that would mean you get trampled. Okay, that's good.
17?
And an 11. Saban, you are basically in a very stark position. You're standing there like a goalkeeper, making sure it's not coming past you, and you're standing there unmoving. So immediately it sees that's not the way to go. Besides, you might guess that there might be a little bit of bias that it really doesn't want to come anywhere near you ever again because of past events. So as it steers away from you, that gives Septimus the perfect opportunity to try and grab it. So as you basically jump to the side of it, you get a chance to try and knock it off the horse or pull it off. Roll me an athletics check.
Yeah.
What did you roll?
16.
16.
Okay, what would you like to do? What are you trying to do?
Basically, the way that I picture it is, while it tries to, dodge Saban, that's when I swoop in, I grab it off the leg, and I just pull it off, yank it off the horse.
Okay, as you do, you basically grab it onto the side and you both tumble over the horse, you tumble into it, having a soft landing as it tumbles onto the floor. It winces and falls around. You're full with blood now as you grapple this really bloody creature. And you're basically currently lying on top of it as it's wincing on the ground. A bloody mess. The horse keeps running for a few feet before coming to a stop.
Alright.
What do you do?
I punch it in the nose.
Roll me a melee attack.
Just one sec. Just a sec. Let me find that.
Or just roll it straight d20. I can apply bonuses manually. Yeah, just roll straight d20. That's going to be easy, I think.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll do it like that.
You get advantage since... so roll 2d20 actually.
Is one.
Need you to roll a second one.
Second one is 16.
So as this creature is lying on the ground, literally blowing around as you're lying on its back, just desperately trying to get the fuck away from you weird people, you just raise your arm and just bang it on the head, and it stops moving.
Saban, good advice.
I told you.
Oh boy.
So,
So I think Saban would go after the horse, try to approach it like calming, like it's okay, it's okay.
the horse is kind of terrified right now. Roll me a handle animal to try and gain its trust.
I'm not the one riddled in blood.
I know, that doesn't help
No,
it
it
right now in
is.
its current state. It is just happy that it currently hasn't a giant, furry, bloody creature on top of it. So it'll take anything right now. So, yeah, it seeks shelter with you.
Nice. You, girl, boy, whichever it is. But, yeah, I would take... still has the reins to the cart were broken up, but does he still have, like, the reins?
Yes, he does.
Face? Okay. So I can lead him through that.
So, what's next?
Gonna go over to the werewolf, kinda keep a distance, like stay like 10 feet away from it because of the horse. And basically I said to us like, should we switch?
Actually, hang on.
Carry him.
I need to look what happens to a werewolf when they're knocked out. Do they?
I'm standing close to the werewolf because if it starts moving, I'm punching it again.
Okay, no, nothing happens.
You are
Yeah.
heresy.
Exactly.
Yeah, we build up a monster hunter school and it's like, what do you do with werewolves? Punch them in the nose.
It's a weak spot.
Just punch them right in the face. End of story.
But wouldn't you get awfully close to the teeth and, risk becoming... No. You're not
Yeah,
aiming for the
exactly.
teeth, you're aiming for the nose.
I don't think you
Yeah.
get. I don't think you quite get it. If it doesn't work the first time, keep hitting it in the face. And we're not talking the mouth. We're talking the nose. And if you
Yeah.
can't hit the nose, hit the eyes.
In other words, when you meet a werewolf or a cute puppy, in both cases you need to poop the snoot. Just
Yes.
various forms of strength.
Just yes, vary your strength, but do the same thing essentially.
Okay, so what's happening next? You're standing before this massive creature, still bloodied. It's looking kind of terrible, honestly.
Yeah. I could get it stabilized if I want to.
I mean,
So,
Rika's running
basically-
towards wherever it went. With Irene.
With
because you
Irene,
can't leave
okay.
Irene alone. Cannot leave her alone.
I have rope. I can tie it if you want to heal it.
Yeah, I think we should tie it up. Make sure it doesn't die on us and then question this bugger.
I'm gonna tie it up good.
Okay, do roll me an athletics, I suppose? Because quite frankly, it's lying on the ground and it's weighing quite a lot, so trying to get the rope all
Yeah,
around
because
it.
of that, I think it might be better for Saban to do that, so...
Okay.
Zeppelins, do you want to keep the horse?
Yeah.
I can tie it up real tight.
Okay, Saban, do me an athletics roll.
And there comes that one. Oh, no.
No, you managed to tie it up quite good. Also, roll me an insight.
Way oh.
Nothing the matter here.
That's good.
And what else?
Well, can I do a medicine check just to see how close it is to actually dying?
Go ahead.
It's just gonna be okay. So I don't do anything yet, just see.
Okay. This. Honestly, it's kind of hard to tell anything. It's just so dark. Like the moonlight is the only way you really have any way of seeing it, and you always need to turn it and twist it to really try to get a good basically view of any of its wounds. And with the fur, it doesn't make it any easier either. Although a good chunk of it is burnt away. Oh, that wasn't before there. Honestly, you're lucky you're even able to find some of the wounds at all. It's kind of hard to just see anything right now. You see some of the wounds, they look pretty nasty, but not necessarily deadly. Like most of the stuff you find looks like flesh wound stuff. Like,
Oh, no.
it will live, probably.
Well, in that case, we have time to have Rika, who's has better knowledge on this subject than Saban. So I think we can wait.
Rika and Irene are... You see two figures approaching from the dark road ahead.
Saban does ready up again, but
Rika's
he's
gonna-
kinda expecting it to be those two, but he does ready up again.
Rika's gonna give 2 blows of the whistle to indicate that it's them.
You had 2 blows of the whistle.
It's fine.
You all meet up
A
again.
large werewolf, yeah. A persistent bugger, this one.
Yes.
Saban, says he points up, holds up the wolf.
Is it dying?
Very close.
Oh well, let me just boops the snoot, give it a bit of a spare the dying. No, it's
Yeah.
definitely not gonna die. It's stabilized.
Alright. Roll me... Actually, Rika, roll me in medicine.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean... Basically, you just notice that as you basically go so close into contact with its snoot that it is clearly still breathing. So it is definitely still alive. Not only that, but as you go as closely as that, instantly you notice by its breath that it is actively smelling. It is sniffing.
You're not quite dead, are you? Not quite unconscious either. Give up the ads.
You hear a slow whimper.
Why, I believe you might be able to answer some questions. One way or the other.
Should we kill it, maybe? The creature whimpers again.
Septimus is trying to get the blood off of his clothes, and he yells out, "Do as she says! I can still throw another punch."
Yeah, and just for you know, little wolf, you howl loud or do anything to alert others of our situation, I'm gonna twist that snout until you can't bend it back. So be a good boy.
There does not appear to be any resistance. Nothing.
Up. Come on. We all know that you're not really a wolf.
Hey! Hey! Kom, Steiner!
Supposing that he can't talk in this form. Supposing that it's a he.
These hands are E for everyone. I think that may very well be the most beautiful dog ever.
This is the werewolf, by the way.
We've been punching your dog in the nose for the
Yes.
past hour.
Oh no.
Yes, now you feel
That's
terrible.
good.
That's a plot twist of today's session. No, in any case, you were saying? Yes, it continues basically just whimpering and such. Eventually you deduce that either it is unwilling to talk, or it is, in fact, as one of you stated, perhaps not capable of talking.
Can you even turn back, wolf?
Once again, just wincing.
Rick, do you know if these like turn back automatically then, or it is just stuck like this?
Do I know?
You don't know for certain, but according to how these things work, it's normally related to the moon. You look up, the moon is out, but it's not a full moon. So...
Okay, so 3 theories, I think. 1, he or she. Okay, nod if you're a he. Shake your head if you're a she.
Just shakes its head slowly over the ground.
Oh.
Okay, great. Either she can control it however she wants. I don't think that's a very valid theory at the current moment. 2, it's tied to the full moon. 3, it's tied to the moon, meaning that if the moon's out, she turns. Or 3, it's tied to the night, and she turns at night. Either way, we'll have to wait till morning.
Well, we scouted out ahead and seems to be good.
All right. Well, I mean, we should get the cart then.
Yeah.
They might be able to fix us, to fix the part of the car that we destroyed.
Yes, that would be quite difficult to fix. Just could use rope. Wouldn't be as comfortable for the horse, but
I'm sure it can do the short where we can rest up somewhere close.
probably.
Should have.
Saban, do you have an axe, like a hand axe?
I do.
Great. We're gonna need that to make a post.
Alright. Just point me to the woodwork.
I mean, Daniel, is there trees around, like small trees? Semi-small trees?
Not really. If you were to go
Is there
on
big
ahead a
trees?
little bit more. I mean, they're certainly down the cliff. You know, I mean.
gonna go ahead.
Not gonna go down the cliff.
If you were
I'm gonna
to.
go ahead anyway, so if Irene wants to come with me, Saban, Rika, and Septimus, you think you can handle the horse cart and this little wolf?
Probably. I mean, if it does anything, I'll just shoot it. Come on. Wait, Saban, did you tie its feet?
I mean, I think I would have tied the feet as well.
Yeah, I was
Does it
imagining.
matter?
Wolves are fast buggers, so
True.
yeah.
Does it allow any movement?
I don't think so necessarily.
Is it gonna wriggle along the
Kinda-
ground? What do you want from it?
Yeah.
Maybe a
Like,
lot.
yeah, like Saban was kind of expecting that he's just gonna carry it and drag it.
You know what? Septimus, do you have your own rope?
I do, yes.
Okay, so you take the whistle, you take the rope and the horse, go to the cart, bind the horse to the cart, get the cart here. We'll load the werewolf into the wagon together. I'll just keep an eye on it.
Are you sure?
Yes,
All right.
I do have a bit of a trigger finger.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna do anything
That's for
stupid. Seems to be smart enough for that. So, Irene, if you would mind, let's go up ahead where there were some trees up there.
Oh, this reminds me, Rika, I should have probably mentioned this sooner because you did roll quite high on your medicine. You noticed that some of the wounds you've inflicted earlier on it seem to have healed.
Oh my. Well, Lady Wolf, I sure do have a lot of yes or no questions you'll be able to answer. And don't even think about doing anything. Because if you as much as twitch the wrong way, I will not be afraid to shoot you again. Great. So, do you transform under the moon? Like this, is it just the moon, or does it have, or is it the night in general?
Slowly raises and lowers its head.
Okay, so it does have something to do with moon, and it's obviously not a full moon, is it? Like something to do with the moon's phases?
It sort of just puts its head like that, like turns it a bit.
Okay, interesting. I do seem to notice that your wounds are healing. Is that only in, like, this form?
It seems to be staring you down a bit. Looking around nervously.
Answer the question. It's an honest
Hesitantly nodding.
Okay, that's great. That's great to know. So I mean, you said you were a woman in your normal form, right?
Nods.
Okay, great.
Saban, do roll me either nature or survival to see what you can find. Septimus, you don't have much trouble with the horse. It is calm after, like, this is normal after all that happened before.
Survival on nature.
Precisely.
Alright.
What was your latest question, Rika?
So, question: do you live nearby, perchance?
Shakes head.
Okay. So, do you live in the village of Barovia?
Shakes head.
Do you live near the castle?
Once again, shakes head.
Just the forest?
Hesitates, but shakes head.
Interesting. So, okay.
What is Septimus muttering, I'm wondering?
Just fuck over and over.
You know, you could still well, anyway. Saban, you do find what seems to be, honestly, like the trees around here seem somewhat, somewhat thinner than the most of them down there, but you seem to find a decent one, actually. Like, this will make for a good place. This will make into for a good post.
Alright. Well, gathering that and gathering some of the bark, I basically explained to Irene the situation that was going on with the camp.
She seems a little bit doubting of your ability to dye hair with bark, but
I knew where to hit the wolf. I know how to dye hair.
Your survival of 6?
Rika, 2 more questions before we resume all the party being together.
Okay. Age above 20?
Nods.
Above 30?
Shakes head.
Okay, great to know.
Looking at you a little bit skeptical, like...
She's writing all of this down in her notebook.
Great. You're all getting back together. At this point, Septimus, you are back to Rika, who is writing down furiously the age of the wolf in front of you.
I'm gonna look at her with a bit of a quizzical look, but it's Rika being Rika. I have nothing to say.
Come on, let's get her into the cart.
Alright.
Then we can tie her to a post when we get to the camp. Don't worry, it's for our safety.
Calm down, Wolf. You could be dead.
You carry it successfully onto the cart, and you start riding off.
Yeah, if Saban is there, he's gonna prepare the dye.
Alright. Roll me another survival check. Let's see how.
Fuck.
Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. Yeah, you know, there's quite a few chunks in there, and it doesn't quite, it didn't go quite as thick as you wanted it to be. Right now it's a bit watery with chunks of wood in it, but you think that's kind of how it goes. You just really have to rub the wood really hard against the hair, and it will probably rub off somehow. That's what you think this works like. Irene is still looking quite skeptical at your work.
She's gonna have so many split ends. This is not gonna be good for her hair.
Well.
So before this happens, we'll say that Rika and Septimus, you're arriving.
Hello. Oh yeah, Septimus is driving. I am keeping an eye on the wolf.
Oh yes, the person that can't see in the dog is driving. What could go wrong? Great. Okay, so you make it there
It's not that
successfully, oddly enough.
What are you up to? Saban?
Well, I'm trying to make some dye out of this bark here, but it doesn't work exactly like I've seen.
Can I roll knowledge nature?
you don't need to roll knowledge nature to know that this ain't gonna really make it. You can roll knowledge nature to see how it actually goes, though.
I mean, I did roll 20 to know how it actually goes. Like, I should know
Yeah,
that.
but basically, you
Just
rolled
that
the 20
yeah.
to figure out that you can do it with the bark. The actual, you know about how it's done. The practical part of it wasn't working as well.
Yeah. So basically, I know how it is done. I just don't know.
You haven't just never done it actually
Yeah,
before.
never done it
It's like
before.
it's like you know the ingredients of how to bake a cake and the process. It's just that the practical knowledge isn't really there.
Yeah. So you're gonna end up with cake that has like floury bits in it.
I don't have good nature. Could I? I mean, I could roll some. No, it'd probably be better to roll nature. That makes more sense.
Could also roll. No, it's nature. It's gonna be nature. Septimus, anything you're up to in the meanwhile?
It's better than a 1.
So you deduce that what you should probably do at this point is like take the bark and just sort of like rub it in the bowl so that the brownness goes into the water.
Maybe you also shouldn't dye her hair. I think she should be fine. She can have your cloak, right?
I'd rather use it to hide my sword, but
All right, fine. She can
keeps the cloak on all the time.
she can have my scarf. Adam fucking.
Scarf is less suspicious than a cloak on your face all the time. Know it from experience.
Fuck. Okay, I unwrap my whole scarf.
That's very nice of you. Thank you.
Yes, it also does clash a bit with your colors, but it should be fine.
I mean, it's definitely better than splitters in my hair. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Right, what's next? You have the poster.
Well, load it into the cart.
All right, it's loaded into the cart.
Great. Let's go to wherever we're going.
Oh yeah, Rika, it's the first time for you to actually go past the camp. You're much closer to the camp at this point, and you actually also see the same thing I described to you over to before. Big fire, people around. Actually, as you were traveling along there, they actually waved at you.
Great. Somewhere to sleep.
Before they get there is, since Septimus is driving the cart, he's going to slow it down to basically a crawl and say, "There's something I would like to ask all of you before we get there."
Okay.
Yeah.
When I spoke to Gina, she told me that there is a dangerous outlaw here who shares my name. So I would appreciate it if you didn't address me by my name instead of a nickname of some sorts, because I don't want to draw that kind of attention for my name. I don't want to take the fall for something that someone else has done just because we share a name.
So
if you,
what do we call you then?
I'm not very good with nicknames. Sept, I think maybe would be better. Or if you have any suggestions to make.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a nickname. It could just be a code name, or like just a straight up different name.
Well, I knew a guy once called Remero.
What was his name?
Remero.
Remero.
Yeah.
Alright. When we're around other people, would you all kindly address me as Remero?
Remy. That's your name. That's your nickname now, Remy.
Huh. That
Please, Rena,
Yeah.
no.
Remy. That sounds cute.
Please, no. I won't answer if you call me Remy.
All right, Romero.
But that will only make it more credible.
It's also a lot easier to say Remy than Remero.
Yeah, I didn't call him full name either.
What about
So,
Remus?
Remus?
I can work with that.
so are these guys safe though?
Supposedly, yes, but there is a fortune-telling woman there that supposedly knew that we were coming, so you, Irene, I suggest you keep your hair down and
Right.
you don't let your hair show, or your face if you can.
Yeah. Irene, do you know of people? They call themselves Vistani.
Oh yes, of course. Everyone knows of them.
No,
Right.
most likely.
Suppose we didn't.
Yeah, we're
Oh.
kind of new here, remember?
Well, Vistani are. Ooh, okay. This is a big one. Let's see. Vistani are. They are basically like a family of people, like a descendants of a sort of family that were born with the ability to come and go out of Barovia as they please.
That seems a very useful ability.
Does that mean that we can leave with them?
I don't think so. I don't think it's that simple. From what I understand, that they are the only ones that can do this for some reason. Apparently, like Strahd is giving them this supernatural ability for some reason. People do say that they might work for him because, nobody comes or goes without him knowing, so.
I goddamn knew that they were too friendly to be nice.
Yeah. They might still tell us something we don't know, though, but should keep our guard up.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that all Vistani are necessarily evil, because I mean,
Perhaps not, but just one of them, one little songbird of Strahd, and you're going to Ravenloft.
yeah, my brother was always saying the same.
So Septimus is Remy.
Remus!
Remus. Then Irene will be
Petunia.
Sarah.
Oh, okay, Sarah.
Sarah and Remus.
I think that disguises your names pretty well. If they ask for last names, you'll have to give that on the fly.
All right. I think I can do that.
No.
Not everyone has last names.
True. Oh yeah. Also, Rika's elf ears are pretty proudly on display right now because she does not have her scarf to hide them.
Come to think of it, what are your last names?
I'm simply Saban of Gilencia, so I guess technically that is my last name, Gilencia.
Galencia.
Yeah. Sound familiar?
It does actually. That's an odd name.
Well, it's my people.
I It's just that I'm I'm pretty sure that name, it was, I think that name was used with a, I remember a few years back there was this I think a pack of were creatures that went by Gilencia. I think perhaps that name you should keep to yourself.
What kind of were?
I don't quite know. It happened quite in the west-ish region. I think perhaps Vlaki or so, but apparently it was quite badly. In fact, some of these creatures even made it to, well, she sort of figures to the werewolf in the back. Some of these creatures even made it close to Barovia.
Wolf, have you heard of Gilencia?
There's a nod.
Thank you for answering truthfully. Anyway, I suppose I should introduce myself. Well, introduce my last name. I'm Rika Seki of the Elder Archives of Elvora.
Sounds fancy.
It's a fancy place of study. Yep.
And what about you, Remy?
My full name is Septimus Northern Shimmer.
Hmm. Sounds cool.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into camp and tie this this very civil beast up.
Are you certain we should bring it to the camp? I can't imagine them being happy about this.
Well,
I'd
rather have it in the camp where we can see it over keeping it in the woods where we can't see it.
We could also muscle it. Well, we could tie its snout shut with rope if we have to.
Won't it see?
I'm sure she'll be quiet.
Just tied around the snout, so it's.
I'm sorry, I don't have any
You'd
healing
still be
spell.
able to breathe.
In any case, I think one of us should, go first so that they're informed that we're coming and we're coming with a werewolf in the back. I can do it if someone else wants to drive.
Yeah, I kind of have a bad habit of making people get on their edge, so maybe I'm not the best one to go ahead if we're actually talking.
Very well then. Septimus is gonna hand over the reins to whoever is sitting next to him.
Rika.
Okay, and he's gonna jump off of the cart. I'm gonna start walking over to the camp.
All right. Yes, you can do that. In the meanwhile, do you other two want anything to do?
I'm keeping an eye on the wolf.
All right. Irene seems to be doing the same thing, but it seems like Irene is starting to feel a bit sorry for this creature.
How easily is this noticeable that she's starting to feel sorry?
Like, she is petting it a bit.
Do you remember that it did try to swipe at us?
But it just seems so harmless right now. Not to mention, I mean, I never realized that they were so sentient, I suppose.
It's true. I will also mention that its wounds are healing, so it may just be biding its time to kill us.
It takes a few, it takes a bit of a. Oh. You think this is also some sort of ruse? The
I don't
creature
know.
shakes his head.
Some creatures.
How
do.
fast does it shake his head?
Moderately.
Okay, I'll just, as a warning, just summon a little bit of flame to my fingertips and then put it out again.
Okay, back to Septimus. Septimus, you're approaching the camp.
Yep.
You see a couple, you see different tents. You see a couple of guys being around the fire, talking with each other, drinking, and just laughing, having a good time. You walk towards them. Eventually, one of them catches your eye. Actually, it's the guy that you talked with before. He spots you and talks to his friends and goes like, yeah, and stands up and comes to you. Hey!
Hi. I was wondering if your offer for hospitality still stands.
Absolutely, yeah, sure.
Excellent. I have a few friends of mine coming after me. I would just
That's
like
no
to-
problem. But they even told us you'd be coming, so we already have space.
I would love to meet this woman.
Oh yeah, she also wants to meet you.
Excellent. There is a bit of a problem, however. We're not quite alone.
Yeah, yeah, you should be like. I mean, I don't know how many people you are, but it should be like fine. We should have enough space.
No, you don't understand. We caught a werewolf.
Oh, that's a problem. I can get a couple of guys with it. We can kill it, probably. How big is it? Is it alone? We can probably take it on.
No, it's alone. However, I would appreciate it if, for the night, we could allow it to be tied to a post, so that we may speak to it in the morning if it does turn back into a human. If it doesn't, we will kill it.
You want to keep a werewolf here?
I will take full responsibility in the eventuality that it breaks free, and my friends and I will kill it if it becomes a threat.
It's a werewolf. And if it does break free, I mean, we're gonna have bigger problems than who's gonna take responsibility for it. Not to mention, it's a werewolf. I feel like we've glossed over that fact a little bit here.
I completely understand your concern, however, it's heavily wounded, and if need be, we will keep wounding it until sunrise.
Right. You do understand that it's a werewolf, right? It's a killing machine.
I would like you to also understand that we have...
It eats people.
I understand, however, I would like you not to gloss over the fact that we have basically turned it into a docile pup at the moment. It's in our cart.
That doesn't sound possible, does it?
Well, you're gonna see it pretty soon.
I don't know. How? Give me a persuasion check.
Let's see what I can do. Persuasion.
Should have given you guidance. Shit.
18?
Okay, no, never mind.
I don't know. It's just I'm not going to be able to talk you out of this, am I? Okay, but I'll have to insist that you keep it somewhat away from the main camp area.
Of course. I wasn't suggesting bringing it into the camp. Like at the very edge of the camp is where we're gonna set the post that we're gonna tie it to.
I'm not sure why you feel so confident, but I mean, if you say so. You are Madame Eva's guests, so if you want to bring a werewolf, all right.
Thank you.
Hmm.
I never caught your name.
Hmm?
I never caught your name.
Oh, I'm East Striker.
Nice to meet you. My name is Remus.
Nice to meet you, Remus. So, where are the others?
They should be coming shortly. Any chance I can have a drink?
Oh yeah, sure. Join us.
Excellent. Then Septimus is gonna join them next to the fire and have himself a drink while waiting for the people.
Weren't you supposed to give them like a signal or?
I was?
Never mind. So, as it turns out, Remus is sitting down with his new buddies drinking.
How far away are we? We wouldn't be that far away.
I'm gonna say that you're far away enough to actually see the two figures, from which you assume one of which is Remus, joining them by the fireside.
For God's sake, this is why we have protocol.
I don't even have a whistle.
I gave you a whistle. I haven't taken it back.
By the way, I sort of mentioned this earlier to Saban. You know, the booze is quite something. It's definitely some homemade stuff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna drink too much of it. A few sips.
You notice the same at this point. And, you know, the people around welcome you, ask you to take a seat, and, you know, they inquire, like, so, who are you? What's your name, traveler?
They're talking to me.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Remus.
Hey, nice to meet you. What brings you around here?
Me and my friends are just trying to get away, I guess. Where are you guys headed?
Ah, we're travelers, merchants, even. We're going around selling our wares. Right now we're en route to Barovia, and after that, continuing on along the road of Old Swellick Road. Maybe turning around, going back to Vallaki afterwards.
Is it a dangerous journey to Vallaki?
Certain dangers all the time. Werewolves, were-ravens, just creatures in general. There's also zombies occasionally. But if you travel with a big enough group, as we do, it's normally nothing to worry too much about. Though, apparently, sometimes there's ambushes laid. Not to mention, bandits apparently roaming the place. But we've yet to encounter them.
They probably see you in a big group and they run away.
Quite possible. We Vistani are not to be taken lightly. We know how to handle ourselves.
You have very interesting uniforms, very eye-catching.
Alright, they own uniforms. You do notice that actually they aren't really uniforms, yes. They do all look similar in design and color and everything, but each of them looks individual in its own way. If you look from far away, you could mistake them for uniforms very easily, but close up, you notice that each of them has its own color observation, how it is built up, it has different clothing, different attire. Each of them look individually different, but with all the colorful contrasting, same in that style.
They're very impressive nonetheless. So, Istraka told me that we were being expected, my friends and I.
Istraka! Wasn't that supposed to be a surprise? It was. I didn't realize. I thought. I mean, was it? Well, yeah. They'd be like, oh yeah, we're coming over here. It's like cool and all. And we'd be like, oh yeah, you should talk with Fortune. And he'd be going in all like that. And she'd be like, oh yeah, I've been it would have been so cool. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that was a thing. Meanwhile, Rika and Sabana, how long are you going to wait out there? Because it doesn't seem like the figures from the fire are moving away.
As I wrote, I'm gonna slowly begin riding in. You know, hold go inside the camp, but not too far, so that we can plant the post and put the werewolf up and such.
Yeah, the wolf is tied up at the moment, so.
Oh yeah, by the way, guys, they're gonna bring us. This is a little thing I should probably tell you about. They're gonna bring in a werewolf. Sorry, what? They're gonna bring in a wolf. It's gonna be. I mean, yeah, there's figures too. Remy. It's gonna be fine. Like they have it like on a leech and everything. They're just gonna like have it like weak and down. It'll be fine. It's gonna be far away from the camp. I'm pretty sure.
It's very badly wounded and it's muzzled and tied. It'll be fine. Excuse me, gentlemen. He's gonna get up and he's gonna head on over to Rika and the others so he can help tank the werewolf.
Right. So Septimus is approaching you once again.
Yeah, Zaban jumps off the cart, basically walk beside it. So, they still taking us in, or we continuing on?
I managed to convince the guy who gave you the bottle of booze before. Apparently his name is Istraka.
Well, you do have to convince the whole camp and not just one guy.
Looking back, you figure that currently that's what the one guy is trying to do.
Let's get the wolf tied up.
The wolf is
Let's-
looking at
let's
you
get
menacingly.
Her tied up. You know, let's humanize her a bit. We have not been the most gracious of hosts.
She tried to kill us!
Yes. It's sarcasm.
Okay.
She whines a little.
Sorry, we'll leave you in a sitting position with your arms behind the pole, so it'll be harder for you to get away, but it'll be somewhat comfortable.
Yeah, she doesn't seem she, no matter what we want to use at this point, doesn't seem okay. Doesn't seem happy about this, but goes along with it. No resistance at any point, really.
Well, you're behaving nice and come and keep you company later on. Make sure you're not alone by the edge of the camp.
So, what do you do? It does not seem to try to resist in any way. Like, it is basically done. It knows that if it tries anything at this point, it is just not gonna be.
If I actually had my spell slots, it would be gone if it tried anything. But I do not.
That's what the long rest. Anytime. We're gonna get there. I mean, to be honest, even without that, you just wow.
Yes, I am quite proficient with my bolts of fire.
Yes, apparently so.
Anyway, I'll go into the fire and I'll introduce myself.
Hey, another one. Hello.
I'm Rika. It is very nice to meet all of you. As you may know, we do have a werewolf tied up at the edge of camp.
I don't. I don't see why you agreed to this.
Listen, it's fine. If any of you try to hurt her, I will be, I will have to hurt you too. That's, I'm afraid, policy. She is.
Are you a werewolf? Why are you protecting werewolves?
No, that's the second part. If she tries anything, I will kill her. Thank you.
Right, and we will kill her too if she tries anything. I think that should be obvious.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Zaban also gets us up to the fire.
But if you try to kill her while she's tied up,
Also, just for a moment, it's not a her, it's an it. It's a beast.
She does respond to yes or no questions currently, so I'd say it's a she.
I don't know.
Answers the questions and whines a lot. Responds as he comes into the fire. And he takes the bottle that he had and gives it back.
I mean, they have a point. You need to admit, we never really tried asking them questions, have we? Why would we? They are trying when they're trying to kill us. Why would we?
I would also say
Fair
that
point.
if you kill any werewolves, you might want to burn them afterwards just to make sure they're dead. If
What?
that's not already something you do.
Why's that?
They do regenerate, if you didn't know.
Do they?
In their wolf forms, they regenerate. Slowly, but still.
Hmm.
Just either decapitate them or throw them in a giant bonfire.
Do you think that's why so many werewolves are about? That people kill them and just leave their bodies lying around?
Maybe. Anyway, that tidbit of information is now payment for our safety. Thank you. So, who are we going to meet here?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Well, if my comrade Hans, who would have been... Madame Eva, she's in the tent over there. She wanted to talk to you lads.
Many thanks.
No
Rico
problem.
will stride over to
Would
the
you
tent.
like to do that right now? Or... Is she gonna call us in, or does she just want us to go in as soon as possible?
Well, she just wanted to meet you all at some point. When you arrive here.
Alright, I guess in that case we should go in there. Enjoy the bottle, it was strong stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's great stuff, isn't it? It's a homebrew. It's a family recipe.
Well,
Also, well, have you bound up the thing by now?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's binding it up?
I think that would be Sabon. Like, I think that's what we did.
Well, honestly, I see no point in making you roll for it. You already rolled to tie it, and also for the fine. So, honestly, I think this is the straight up procedure. Okay, so you all go to this tent.
Yep, Sabon prepares the pipe and starts smoking it as he heads there.
What is it?
Before Septimus and Irene head on over to the group so they can head over to Madame Eva's test, Septimus is going to suggest to her that he introduces her as his sister so that another layer can be added to the lie.
You're saying this to Rika?
Irene.
Oh, Irene. Oh, okay.
Though I do suppose if the fortune teller knew we were going to be here, maybe she's going to know who we are. But we don't know that.
Yeah, but the point is, I don't know if the fortune teller is going to be speaking to the other members of the Vistani. So, my logic is if Septimus and Irene are introduced by different names and they're introduced as siblings, chances are if someone asks, hey, did you meet this number of people? And, they're going to say, yeah, we met them, but, two were siblings, or at least so they said. So, maybe it'll buy us some time.
Maybe.
Okay. I see no. I think that sounds like a good plan.
Septimus is gonna head on over to the campfire where the guys are, introduce her as his sister in a passing comment, and then we're gonna head on over to the tent.
Should I come with you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you all head there.
Yep.
There's a little tent, pretty quaint. Unlike the other tents, it looks a little bit more fancy. Like there's a rock over it, and there's all sorts of fancy imagery spun into it, like moons and other signs of the stars. Yeah, the screaming fortune teller. Yeah, you see it. You go in through the thing, put some cloth to the side as you enter, and as you all enter, behind you it falls down again, making the room darker once again. The tent itself is lit by candles lying about, and in the middle you see well, you're not taking the werewolf currently with you inside of the tent, or are you? That would be interesting.
No, we're not. No.
Good.
At least not yet.
As I was saying, yes, in the middle of the room, you see a woman. Not as old as you were expecting. Around maybe 30-ish? Somewhat young, but now getting into the age where, age is starting to show itself. A few little wrinkles in the face. Her eyes are closed. A crystal ball in front of her on a table. Around her, little doohickeys and things lying all around. Outside, you can hear the sound of multiple ravens passing by closely, all around you, as if ravens are flying around the tent, and then off into the distance. I have awaited you. Saban, Rika, and Remy at this point, I believe you call yourself. And of course, Irene, I believe, yes. Or was it Tatiana? No, it was Irene. Hello. The woman sits herself up, no longer bowing over the crystal in front of her, and she opens her eyes. But she isn't really looking at you, but rather into your direction. You notice immediately that her eyes, they are greyed out. I've waited.
Mullen just takes a long puff of the pipe and just blows it out.
Welcome. I am Madame Eva. That's what they call me. I'm sure you have many questions. But please, take this as an opportunity to rest up for what is ahead of you.
Who are you exactly, madam?
I just said so. I am Madame Eva, a fortune teller. I travel with the Vistani. I am their leader, you could say. But
The crystal ball showed you those things that you weren't supposed to know, and no one was supposed to know.
The crystal ball, honestly, I probably don't even need it. But it certainly helps. Perhaps it is one of these things where you think it helps, but perhaps it doesn't. In either case, it's not the main source of my power, if that is what you were thinking.
I suppose it could be a magical focus.
Yes, perhaps something like that. In any case, I do know that you four have a destiny ahead of you, and quite a large one at that.
Interesting.
What does this destiny entail?
Well, before we get into this, perhaps you would like to ask your comrade, Irene, to leave for a moment, unless you feel comfortable with her knowing about your well, more personal things about yourself.
I have no objections.
I mean,
Irene, you stay.
Or you can go check on the wolf.
I have an objection with you staying.
I'll just be here. I'm not gonna say much.
It's fine.
I was just saying so because while you two certainly have a destiny in front of you, I can't help but notice that the three of you share a common destiny. It is like your strings, your destinies, they are intertwined.
Interesting. Well, of any of the private matters that you so boldly proclaim to know?
Ah, yes. Let me see. She holds her hand over the globe and closes her eyes. You cannot save everyone, you know. And I can see that your destiny, it is filled with ravens. Some of them will guide you, but others will mean your harm. And I can see that you search for something. No, you search for someone. But you can no longer flee from your past. It's haunting you. You lost someone dear to you. Guilt weighs heavily on your shoulders. But you must let go of it if you want to move forward. And you must face responsibility for what you did. Hopefully, you will find what you search, and it will give you what you desire. She looks up at you again, opening her eyes.
I don't suppose you meant that for any one of us specifically.
As I said, I'm afraid that, well, your destinies are intertwined. I can sip on the string and pull and drag a bit on it, but in the end, it's so intertwined, it is hard to really say. In this matter, it is like a rope. I can very clearly tell that in the past you've relied on each other. Without each other, perhaps your destiny would have perished a long time ago. I can see that between you have a form of trust. You've worked together well.
So Barney's kind of looking around like, yeah.
I suppose so.
These ravens, are they metaphorical or are they very, very physical?
I believe they're more on the physical matter. In Barovia, a raven is more important than you think. It is a sign, even. Many people believe that hurting ravens, or seeing ravens at the wrong time, or a kind of raven can be bad omens, and harming one is definitely a bad omen. As a matter of fact, as a flapping and a raven flies in through the cloth into the tent and lands on the side desk table of the Farseer. Then two more fly in. Then two more. At this point, a couple of these ravens are all sitting down, nestling on the table. In fact, so I utilize ravens myself sometimes.
Messengers or eyes.
Yes. They can certainly be used in such a way, but I also sometimes guide them, to use them to guide my folk. Yes. But the ravens themselves don't follow anyone's order in particular. I simply am capable of reading their messages. She swoops one hand and all the ravens fly towards you and past you out of the cloth doorway again.
The barn covers up his pipe.
Septimus' hand is on his heart.
In any case, I believe that you've come here to learn about your destiny. You want to know how you can leave these lands.
Leave the lands or know enough stuff to go through them, at the very least for beginning.
I'm afraid to tell you that the only way to leave these lands is with the help of Lord Strahd.
Can't
You
Think
Vistani, I mean. I was told that they travel.
No, the Vistani they were bestowed this privilege. They are not capable of giving it to anyone else. They were born with it. They did not choose to activate it. It was something that was given to them. Though perhaps some claim otherwise, you should not heed them.
I don't suppose Strahd does that if you ask him nicely.
No, most likely not. But I can see that you will be able. I can see that you're not just destined to fulfill this ask of yourselves of leaving these lands, but that you will free these lands of this tyrant forever.
I don't suppose you
That
can see
doesn't
a
sound
full
like we're
dime
gonna-
away.
Yeah.
Well, I can see many different futures, many different destinies. Everything can be changed, but I see that, well, unlike many others, for you, this is a real possibility. How you go about it, what the result will be, I do not know yet. But I do know that you free might be able to break the curse that lies on Lord Strahd for once and for all.
I thought this is his land. How is he cursed?
Well, he is most definitely cursed. For you see, as long as he is the lord of these lands, he cannot leave these lands himself. He is a vampire. You yourself could say that this is a grave curse. The only way of leaving this place is by either killing Strahd or by replacing him as the lord of these lands, for this is what gives him his power.
I don't suppose you have to be a vampire to replace him.
I do not believe that this matters. But replacing him is not an easy task. In fact, I must say, I'm not quite certain how it would even go. But if you did somehow manage to replace Strahd with someone else, someone better, and, well, overall simply less tyrannical and willing to let you go, you would accomplish all your goals and have helped these lands quite a lot.
When you say that he's cursed and he can't leave this place, did he create this place or did he end up here, trapped?
Oh, this place has existed far long before this man was even born. But it never existed, well, the curse among this place, the fog and everything around it, that is far newer than the land itself. But I suppose I should help you with better advice. She takes the crystal ball in front of her and puts it to the side, and takes out a deck and starts shuffling it. How about a tarot card reading?
For us as a group or individuals?
Sorry?
Group or individual reading?
This is for all of you, to try and figure out how you will fulfill your destiny.
guess that would make it easier and simpler to know what we must do.
Well, do not be too hopeful. Sometimes the cards can be cryptic.
A lot of things in this land seem to be.
Future sight is, after all, not a precise science, I'm afraid. Well, come closer.
Before you start, can I ask? You don't by any chance control a raven with a bluish hue?
A raven with a blue hue? No, no, I do not. What an odd thing.
Never mind, please proceed.
Well then, come closer, come closer. Take a few seats. Irene is also coming closer, just peering over, trying to see what exactly is going on here.
Before the tarot reading starts, can I look outside the tent just to make sure that the werewolf is still in place?
Yeah, you can move to the clove and look out. You see that it is still there in place, and some of the people around the bonfire are occasionally just looking in its direction, just sort of uncertainly, like you're pretty sure that at any given moment one of them is probably looking at it.
Alright then I'll go back and sit down on my spot.
Okay. Very well then. Shall we begin? Please, all of you, take part of these cards and always take a bit of them and put it next to you, to the next one, who will then proceed the same thing. Simply take it in the middle, put it to your side to the next one of you. You do as she asks.
Yep.
Yep.
As you do pass it along, she takes them all in, takes them together, and puts it in front of you. She draws a card and puts it in front of her, facing you. Then the next card, putting it on the bottom. Then another card, putting it to the right, then to the left. And you notice that she has just created a cross with 5 cards. Very well, let's see what we have here. This first card here will tell you where you will gain the knowledge to defeat Strahd. And I can see a faceless god. He awaits you at the end of a long and winding road deep in the mountains, among the frozen rivers and the snowy peaks. The knowledge you seek is inside the head of a giant and beyond the set of amber doors. This next card should tell you of an artifact capable of re-embowing the gods that will relinquish the creature. And I see it is held in a place of riches and treasure, taken from many, spoils of conquest and victories of eons ago, hidden within a fortress, inside a fortress, in a place behind roaring flames. You will find this artifact. This card here will show you where to find the weapon capable of killing the creature. And I see feathers, many of them bloodied, lying scattered on the ground. Seek a conquered nest of ravens. There you will find this weapon capable of slaying the beast. This card here will tell you where you will find him when the time has come. And I see this dark figure looming up high, looking down upon this tortured land, waiting for those that challenge his might. He is awaiting them with a twisted smile as he looks down upon his land burning. And last, this card will tell you of an ally, someone who will aid you in this quest. Look for a man of jolly nature, accompanied by a monkey. This man is not what he seems. And that is what the cards tell me. The rest lies with you.
What was the first one about Amber Dawn?